What if you had a journaling technique that would shift you away from all these bullshit commitments and pressure-inducing to-do lists, but towards stuff that you love doing and that you're really good at? Wouldn't life be so much more fun and so much easier? Today we are sharing exactly one of those journaling techniques with you. New Year is around the corner, i.e. the time where many people are making lists and plans for the year to come. I'm probably not the only one in the world where these lists most of the time end up falling asleep silently in the bottom of some drawer and rarely get turned into reality. So we used it as an opportunity at the Arc to actually sit down and think about how would a great journaling technique look like that gives you results. And our technique that we are about to present is based on the assumption that if we are not hitting our goals, it is because we're not taking certain action. And the reason why we're not taking certain action is because our body at some level either really dislikes that particular action or maybe fears or dislikes the consequences that we think are happening as a result of this action being taken. So anything from I should quit smoking, I should really start to go to the gym, I should next year really finally quit my job and found my own company, or I should finally stop cheating on my partner, but instead have a very serious conversation with that person. All these things, if they remain at the status of being just some sort of commitment that we feel we should be doing for some reason or another that is somehow externally induced, we believe it's not very sustainable. Because when our body is giving us feedback that we don't like this action, or as I've said before, we might not like the consequence which we believe to happen as a result of that action, our body is rarely wrong. So how would a journaling technique look like that puts us away from all these bullshit to-do lists and brings us more towards something that helps us understand how and why should I shine? What are these amazing things that I want to contribute to the world? Where am I in the flow? If that sounds like something that you're curious about, do watch the part that's coming next. So our technique basically consists of two parts. One part is to use your own past as an evidence for certain things that bring you into flow. And it's basically learning from the past. And the second one is about collecting great things that you will be intrinsically motivated to pull off, where you don't need a crazy amount of external incentives. So the second part is called Commit for the Future. Let's dive right into the first part. So as with the first part, we want to search moments in your past year where you have conquered your fear, the moments that made you grow. And in order to do that, we feel there are three parts. One is the part about what makes you happy. Why do we ask this? It's because in order to actually overcome some sort of fear, you always have to know why you're doing it. What's on the other side of that wall you have to climb over or you have to rip down? So the first question is, what makes you happy? And even more importantly, why? What makes you happy and why? This question is then followed by something around where you get your biggest strengths from. And we say at some level, and you can't argue about this whatsoever, is the source of all strength is love. So the second question is, what were the moments in your past year that love conquered your fear? Where you have made an active choice to go for the stuff that you knew was good and was right, rather than the stuff that was easy. And again, don't forget to write down why. Yeah, what is the root cause of all of this? And the third question is around what's your stage? So in other words, what have you achieved practically, although others or yourself didn't believe you could really do it? What were the stuff where you did something with your hands or with the power of your mind, whatever it was, where you have wowed yourself. So write all of these things down and try to find the silver lining. Try to find one thing that ties all of these things together. And we recommend that you don't, use more than 10-15 minutes to do this as a whole. From experience, most of the good stuff comes within the first 10 to 15 minutes. And actually, I'm going to challenge you to try to put it into one word. If that's what you manage, it's going to be super, super cool and powerful. So let's go over to the second part, the commitment for the future. And we feel that there's a lot of to-do lists and plans and commitments out there that are being made over New Year that are based on things that you feel others tell you to do, or that you feel that society, wants you to do, where your ego or the weak parts and you really jump on. And I definitely think there's a place for that. But I also love thinking more about the things that fulfill you, the things that you feel you can make a contribution to, where you feel you're having really great impact. And I love these things at times even more because these are things that you're oftentimes not so scared of, because they capitalize on your strengths, on your unique talents and values and passions. So this is something that oftentimes people are so much more excited to go towards, because they're not compensating for some fear, but rather bringing you where you are your best amazing self. So for us, these are now 3 very simple questions. The first one is, what will fulfill you next year? Just write down the stuff, the feelings that you know will bring you fulfillment. And again, think about why. How come your body is so excited about that sort of sensations and that sort of to-be memories? So the next question is, how do you want to grow? So it means, yes, the sort of skills that you want to acquire, but also the sort of attitudes you want to start gaining for yourself. What do you want to be less fearful of? Or in other words, what do you want to be more courageous for? What kind of attitudes and mindsets do you really want to develop? And the last one is, how do you want to contribute? How do you want to contribute to, careful, buzzword, make the world a better place? What kind of impact do you want to have on the people, communities, and environments around you? And again, just with all these other questions, ask why. Why is that thing something that your subconsciousness is getting really excited about? So once you're done having answered these questions, again, within 10 to 15 minutes, try to come out one more time with one word that encapsulates them all. That is the silver lining of these 3 questions. And compare these 2 words that you've come up between the first part about learning from the past and the second part, committing for the future. Maybe they are interrelated. Actually, they likely will be. And figure out what will you stop thinking and what instead will you start thinking for the year to come. And I mean something very, very simple when I say start thinking. It can be something as simple as, anytime one member in my family triggers me, I'm going to meditate quickly on my heart and try to feel good again. Something this simple. So at the end of the day, what you will have after this very quick but very smart journaling technique are 3 things. You have your 2 words, you have what will you stop thinking, and what will you start thinking. So now you're probably wondering, what? This is such a tiny thing. How is that ever going to give me results? Well, here's my answer to this. Actually, from experience, making big plans, big to-do lists, having big ideas doesn't work if you're not aligned behind that, if your personality isn't liking the action that it takes for you to get there. And that's why we believe that such a tiny and minor but extremely smart intervention can actually yield you better results than just putting up all those bullet points. And my recommendation is truly try it out and just stick to something simple and make sure that you have the alignment first and the alignment you will find in this little thing you want to start thinking, because this encapsulates the stuff that you've been learning from and be really good at last year, but also the stuff you really, from some positive and intrinsically motivated place, you want to pull off for the year to come. So go and give it a try. And don't be scared that only a tiny intervention doesn't lead you to the place where you want to go, because in our experience, it totally can. So with these words, we are wishing you a fabulous rest of the day. And as always, if you liked what's in this video, but you're feeling like, wow, I would actually like to get started for real, don't hesitate to contact us for a coffee chat, the link for which we will put in there below. What are these coffee chats? Well, as you know, the ARC is this international mastermind that organizes boot camps, retreats, and coachings across Europe. And every week we reserve a couple of spots for impact-driven individuals that want to get their purpose to the next level, to chat with them for a 45 to 60-minute coaching conversation, in bracket coffee chat, to find out together with you what really holds you back and whether or not the ARC is the organization for you to fuel your personal growth. If that sounds like something that's really cool, again, don't hesitate and actually do dare to get in touch with us. We are real people, there are no robots involved. Can't wait to hear from you, and wishing you a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful end of year. Bye bye.